Okay. That just made me think because you said about the suffering. You know the film A Man Called Horse with Richard
Um,
Harris, where he did, was it the Sundance, where he's got bones in his chest and he's dancing backwards until they pop out of the flesh and all that. Um, Clearly, that was part of a ritual. Was that to get a vision then, or was that for something else?
A lot of it was to make a commitment to Mother Earth and to the human beings. Now, in the old days, it wasn't a spectacle. A lot of people weren't allowed when they did their Sundance. And when I went to a Sundance and I ran into Frank Foolscrow, and I remember him saying to me, he looked at me and then he looked at that dog and he said, that dog has two different colored eyes. And I looked at the dog and I looked at him and I said, yeah, I know. I said, I have to live in two different worlds, don't I? And he had the biggest smile. He said, you understand? I said, yes, I do. So that night when I went to bed, I had a vision about the first Sundance and how they had the tree, but they had a pit dug in front of the tree. And the young man that was basically performing the ceremony, they pierced him. Then he got up, but then he had antlers, but he had deer skin over his face. So no one would know who it was. And there was only like four people. The medicine person was there. His father and mother could be there, or his grandfather and grandmother. But it was a very small group of people that were there for to support him. And as he danced, his face wasn't recognized, but the blood dripped onto Mother Earth as a sacrifice to Mother Earth. Nowadays, seem to make a spectacle of it, and that you have crowds when they do the Sundance.
You still do that then with the bones through the chest?
They'll do it, and I went to a couple of them. The second one I went to, I met a individual that I knew. They call him Big Joe, and I had my sacred bundle. And I said, "Would you do me a favor?" He said, "Since would you take this on one round around the sacred tree?" So he danced with it and he went around the tree. And when he got done, he came over and he said, "What is this?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "When I went around that tree, when I came to the end, I could hardly carry it. It was so heavy," he said. And so I said, "It's my sacred shirt." And I said, "Since you honored me by bringing and honoring the shirt, I'll show you what it is." And I showed him what the shirt looked like and everything. And he was just completely blown away from it. But they were having difficulties and everybody was passing out because there was no wind. And one of the dancers asked me, "Would you like to go and touch the tree?" And I said, "I'd be honored." And so I got there and he led me to the tree and I had my sacred bundle and I put my hand on the tree. And all of a sudden you could hear the crowd going, "Ah." And, at that time, when I didn't have my glasses, I couldn't see, but I'm partially blind and I couldn't understand. But I sat there and I said a few words from my heart, and all of a sudden the wind came in.
Wow.
And when I walked out, I said, "What just happened?" He said, "Well, when you touched that tree, the wind came in, the tree turned into a thunderbird, and they didn't suffer anymore."
Energetically turned into a thunderbird then.
That while the leaves, the branches almost formulated into a thunderbird.
Right.
And so I couldn't see it because I couldn't see it, but it wasn't for me. It was for the people so
Right.
that they could stop suffering.